Welcome to Pacifictech PWWeb and PTGo app for Sage 300 demo. Here's a little background information about Pacifictech. Pacifictech's been providing solutions to Sage 300 customers for over 20 years. We're focused on delivering Tier 1 capability and enhanced functionality to what is now over 2,700 Sage 300 customers around the globe. Using Sage's software development kit, otherwise known as the SDK. This is a really important reference and it's something to take note of because you'll find it differentiates us from other ISVs and Sage technical partners. Our solutions reside directly inside of Sage 300 as a result of us using Sage's software development kit and being engineered the same way that they engineered Sage 300. We have a comprehensive workflow and procure-to-pay suite of solutions, including AP automation with procurement. We're bringing our experience with AP automation, procurement, and workflow solutions to extend Sage Intacct as well. Our data centers around the globe are in Australia, Canada, South Africa, and New Zealand. And this is used for our connected services such as PWWeb and our PTGo app. We've received a number of awards over the years from Sage that we're quite proud of, and we truly are a global ISV. So this is just the overview of purchasing workflow with funds availability, cost center budgeting. Then we have our payables workflow, which AP automation module. And then we have workflow notifications, which is vendor payment approvals and controlling unwanted changes in Sage 300. So all three, these are our workflows. The workflow documents works with purchasing and vendor invoices. And all three of these are accessible through the browser and also through our mobile app. So we just show that screen because it's good to know. This is an overview that shows your server on the right-hand side and our server in the center and the users using PWWeb and PTGo app on the left. A couple major advantages to using PWWeb and the PTGo app. One, you can have up to 50 users on one Sage LAN pack. Instead of tying up a LAN pack for each person logging into Sage 300, it's far more efficient and cost effective. Also, many of these users are not wanted in your Sage 300. When the user tries to log in from the browser or the mobile app, their request reaches through our server to your server through a dedicated IP address that we provide to you, both of which are using Windows IIS Web Service. Once their login request makes it to your server looks to see what their user rights are and presents the view that's appropriate for their functionality. We do not store any of your data on our server. It is simply there to provide a conduit to your server so that data can transfer back and forth from the browser and mobile app. Let's have a look at PWWeb. This is what PWWeb looks like in your browser. We would change the header and logo to match your corporate color and logo. This URL would be the address that you would log into for your company. The user would type in their username, their password, and select the company or entity that they would like to log into. Select the login button, and now it reaches back to your server to see who they are and what they're allowed to do. Across the top here, there are a number of menu items. Based on what your function is in the company and what you're allowed to do, these will vary. We'll have a look at those a little more in a while. This particular user is going to do a purchase requisition. In this case, they can select their workflow, the cost center, and notice how it finds as you type. None of this is actually happening directly on the browser, and it is a view from your SQL database from your Sage 300. Here, we have the feature that you can create a template to automatically populate items that you order on a regular basis to save time from having to type them in. If you don't want them to be exactly as they are each time, You can delete items, and you can edit them. After you've selected everything that you would like for this requisition, you can go ahead then and attach any supporting documents such as quotes. Now that you're ready, simply select the Submit button. It's reaching out to the server and creating a requisition. Here you can see you've created requisition 902. At this point, I would expect a manager to have received an email that they have a requisition to approve. Let's be that manager. Put in my username, my password, the entity I'm logging into. It reaches into the server, says who is this person and what can they do. The manager screen is set by default to go to invoice approvals. So currently, we can change the screen by selecting the approval console menu and select from purchasing approval, supplier invoice approval, or other approvals being workflow notifications. Let's look at purchasing approval. Now we see requisition 902 that needs review and approval. Here we can see the details of the requisition with the line item, optional fields, if there are any, events telling me who created this, in this case, the requisitioner ID, details about the time and date, attached documents, and added feature with our module called Funds Availability. You can view whether or not this purchase requisition falls within your current budget. And here you see your budget details. Another way to view this funds availability is by selecting the dollar sign, where here we can see that we are actually over budget. The workflow can be set to actually send off a notice to a higher authority if you approve this and you're over budget. Also, it can be related to project and job costing. Now, if we're satisfied with this purchase requisition, all we need to do is change the status from pending to approved and type in up to 60 characters any kind of comment that you would like to move forward with this requisition. In this case, I've just typed in OK with me. Now select Post Marked Documents, and it will send that back to the server and create the approval for that requisition. Depending on the workflow, could in fact go straight ahead and create a PO, or could need to go to a higher authority depending on the amount of money we're asking to spend, or the fact that it was over our cost center budget. Let's take a look at one other type of purchase requisition. If you're using online stores such as Amazon or OfficeMax or Arrow, PunchOut integrates with a number of the large online stores, and we integrate with PunchOut. In this case, you would select the workflow, the cost center, then you would select the online store that you would like to get approval to purchase from. In this case, I've selected OfficeMax. Select the PunchOut button now, and it will reach out to the OfficeMax online store and load it in our PunchOut screen. Here, we can select to shop by category, the exact same way you would if you were at the online store. In this case, I'm interested in computers. Simply select the computer category, select the computer of interest. If this is one that you would like to purchase, add it to your cart. Then go back and take a look and view your cart. It will show you your two computers in your cart. Now go to Review Cart, where the line items are here, and select Return Cart, which will bring this back to your purchase requisition for approval. Now PunchOut is saying it's been successful, and it's time to close this window. You now see a new button called Load PunchOut Items. Select it, and it brings the two line items from that online store to your purchase requisition. After you've completed any of the other details associated to this requisition, simply select Submit, and that will go off for approval. Once you have approval and a PO, you can go back to the store and finish your purchase. Here's your requisition that was created, number 903. Let's go ahead now and log in as the controller, or this could be a CFO or somebody of higher authority. As we noted before, PWWeb has the ability to do purchase approvals, supplier invoice approvals, and other approvals being workflow notifications. In this case, the controller has a default login going to workflow notifications, where they have one payment approval, two customer change approvals, and one user record approval. Approval is very simple. In the case of making a payment, they can take a look at what the invoice numbers were and the details and select Approve and select Postmark Documents. That will go back to Sage 300 and actually unlock that payment batch so that person in AP can finish their payment. Let's take a look at some of the other functionality in PWWeb. Under the Transaction tab, we have New Requisitions, which we saw Requisitioner do. We have Direct Transfer, Transit Transfer, Transit Receipt, PO Receipt, PunchOut Requisition, PO Change Order, and Invoice Entry. Under Inquiries, we have Management Inquiry, My Requisitions, PO Inquiry, Receipt Inquiry, Funds Availability Inquiry, Funds Availability Cost Center PJC Inquiry, and My Invoices. Substitutions can be people that are approved to replace you when you're away. Profile updates and changes, and administrative services, such as changing titles around some of the fields that make more sense to your users, and various other aspects to the functionality of PWWeb. Let's take a look at a management inquiry. Here, I would like to take a look at all documents that are in process for a particular cost center. Select the Load button, and here we have everything that's outstanding for the marketing cost center. All of this information is in Sage 300, but being brought to you as a view conveniently in PWWeb. Let's take a look now at our PTGo app. When the user logs in, they would put in their username, password, select the company or entity, select Login. It's reaching back to the server and asking who they are and what they're allowed to see and do. Let's do the same thing in PWWeb with the same user so we can compare them. In this case, I'm using the Division Manager. And in PWWeb, we can see that the Division Manager has 4 AP invoice approvals outstanding. And we can see there are 4 here in the mobile app. Our PTGo app works in iOS and Android. Let's have a look at one of the AP invoices. You'll see that the layout and design is set up to be much easier to use in a mobile phone environment. Simply select the invoice, and you can see the transaction details, any attached documents. If you're happy with this, you can say it's okay to pay. Now let's note, this is invoice number 1608002, and here we have that invoice number right here. Once we've selected Submit, notice it turned green and then disappeared after it's been completed back at the server level. Now we're down to 3 invoices to be approved. Let's refresh PWWeb and we'll see this invoice will be gone now. Let's go back and take a closer look at PWWeb. You can see the invoices that require approval. Here, we can select a magnifier for a quick review, and it will show the image of the document on the right-hand side, the invoice details on the left-hand side, and line items. If you have the settings set up so you can edit the line items, you just click Edit and proceed to change anything required. Another way that you can review an AP or PO invoice from PW Web is to simply click on the invoice number. Here it opens a screen where you can see the invoice details. In another tab, you can see the taxes. You can see optional fields if there are any. Events, which show who created this AP or PO invoice and other details related to it, and attached documents. If you wish to edit the invoice, you can click the Edit button if editing is turned on for you to use. Simply select Edit, and it opens up the invoice so that you can edit it. This concludes my demo of PW Web and our PT Go app. Thank you.